Hey, so I've been going through a pretty rough patch. I think part of it is being feeling a little bit overexposed from making videos, and not that anyone's unkind, but it can just feel kind of raw to just even know that people might be watching um, with relatively few filters. I mean, watching me communicate with relatively few filters, and part of it might just be this is the part of the process where suffering gets intense enough to where you're just like you can't grit your teeth and I don't know, either wait it out or just sort of keep to the status quo or I mean, I don't know, again, I'm trying to put a framework on it. I don't know what's going on. You never know what's going on. But part of it too is the absolute viciousness of the genocide in Gaza, which it's been vicious for 19 months. And it's got even more vicious with the starvation, with the just mass murder every single day, genocidal statements by Israeli officials constantly, and people in the West still kind of hemming and hawing. Oh, well, they have a right to defend themselves. It's like, yeah, anybody, don't get me started. Um, you finally have a few journalists and a few European officials trying to cover their asses a little bit, but it's just words after 19 months of absolute cowardice and racism. Don't have a lot of time for it. I hope it changes. I hope things change. But my, not only my inability to stop it, but my inability to be gracious about it. I can't be gracious in the face of genocide right now. I can't be forgiving. I can't be. I mean, maybe something in me knows that they are human just as much as, just like Thich Nhat Hanh said, I'm a rapist, I'm a war criminal, I'm the snake that eats the frog. So I know intellectually that holding myself apart from them is just at odds with, I don't know, that's what I'm told, but I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true that I would be a war criminal if I had been born somewhere else under different circumstances, with different genes and different parents and different, I mean, but yeah, I'm feeling like so angry and so much grief. Not a lot of empathy for proud racists who are supporting or carrying out some of the most brutal acts of my lifetime. And I know there are starving people in other places. There are war crimes in other places. And there are war crimes in other times. Central and South America with the Reagan administration, the Iraq War, Vietnam War. One can be angry and full of grief 24/7. There's a ample fodder for it, and one can be joyful 24/7. Ample, you can find an excuse for that too. Lately, I don't know why. I don't know what's I guess it doesn't matter, but I've been feeling quite miserable, quite closed and small and hateful toward people who so shamelessly lie and so shamelessly refuse to see Palestinians as human beings. It feels like betraying and abandoning them to make nicey nice with their genociders and genocide supporters. But nothing else seems to work either. And yeah, my complete helplessness, so many people's complete helplessness is really being shoved in our faces. And it makes it difficult to want to do this work because it also feels like just some white privilege flight of fancy, abandoning people with less privilege to their fate and saying, well, we choose our reality. Did the babies choose it? I've seen so many videos of completely broken people. I mean, you feel worse for people who survive when their entire family is obliterated. Just offhand, like the cockroaches. It feels as personal as if it was down the street. They're just as human as the people down the street. Just as I mean, I don't know, you shouldn't even have to say it, that they're as human as anybody else. More human than a lot, I would say. But but I do keep going back to the work because I feel like I've backed myself into a corner in a way. Because I just don't know what else to do. I feel like I've tried every other avenue, and it's just more anger, heartache, disappointment, disillusionment. Looking for a result doesn't appear to be the way to live because we don't control the result. We have to accept the fact that even now, the Palestine of 2004 is gone. The Palestine of 1984 is gone. The Palestine of 1944 is gone. and everything's gonna go. Every fucking thing. Sooner or later, one way or another. It's not easy to grapple with when it's a place you care about and it's so concretely and so gleefully and so shamelessly being brutalized and destroyed with the complicity of people who are all around me. Feels like living in the zone of interest, but knowing what's happening while everybody else keeps denying it. Anyway, the thought I had just now that made me want to write a video, make a video was, if we have any choice at all, is our choice to attempt to participate in the sweep and drama of history, to attempt to shape it in our mind's image or our heart's image, or our mind's interpretation of our heart's image. That's on one side. And the other option is to abide in the now, 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 and just see what happens. Because abandoning it seems like our minds are built to try to understand our place in history and understand how we can best make a difference in a positive way, or in many cases, a negative way, what I would consider a negative way. Are racism and anti-racism really two sides of the same coin? That just doesn't seem right. Kind. Who said the universe is kind? And for sure, even if some people do abide in the now, 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 and see what happens, and it's much easier if you're on the luckier end of how people are born on this earth. I think it was Angela who told the story of people who, Westerners who went to live among people on $1 a day. And at first they were constantly anxious. What if there's a medical emergency? What if, you know, the food runs out? What if, what if, what if? And the people around them apparently didn't worry so much about that. They just lived one day at a time. Tomorrow's food is tomorrow's problem. And yeah, they probably have shorter lifespans on average, but maybe they live more in whatever time they have than most of us do in our anxious haze of self-protection above all. Maybe there's space for all of it, you know. It all has its, I was going to say function, but nothing matters. It's not, there's no function, there's just shit happening. And that's hard to wrap my head around too. I like to think that there's something, I have a heart that craves for everyone to be treated with dignity everyone to have their fair share of the bounty of this world. Am I going to leave that behind? If really nothing matters, if really shit just happens, I don't need to worry about history. I don't need to worry about racism. I don't need to worry about equality or justice or preventing the next genocide. Maybe it could be that the best way to prevent the next genocide is to abide in the now, now, now and see what happens. It could be that that was never the point. There's no point, right? It's one thing to say my sorrows don't matter. It's another to say other people's sorrows don't matter. And I know I've belabored this point a million times, but it's falling hard. And it falls harder the more brutal things get. And I have a feeling they're going to get even more brutal before they get better, if they ever do. And I feel like I bear some responsibility for that just as a human. Is that really the same as feeling as a child? Like I bore responsibility for my father's dysfunction? Do I have license to just play and be a kid? Live my life? Even though so much of it is built on the backs of theft from others throughout time. Buddha was a prince. Of course, he walked away from that. And in a way, I did too. I mean, I walked away from potential for a prestigious career, but I sort of unexpectedly landed back in reasonable financial stability anyway. Wasn't my plan, it wasn't my expectation. But even if even if I want to change history, I don't know how. I see so many people doing so many things and so much of it, so much effort amounts to pissing in the wind. Is that the best way to spend a life? Some doesn't, maybe. I don't know. And maybe just the attempt is worthy. I mean, is, you know, the spring comes and then the frost comes and then the spring comes and then the frost comes, and that's just fucking what happens. And some people recognize the pattern and step out of it. Is that okay? Is that valid? I mean, of course, the frost is going to come for everybody, one way or another. And of course, the now could funnel me right into some political thing. Who knows? More useful than whatever the hell this is. But it's that faith. But I'm so miserable and so paralyzed right now that it's like I got nothing to lose. But I can't make anything happen either. Just keep existing, keep practicing, feel all the way into the misery. That's been somewhat fruitful lately. Just um, even like boredom or disgust. Like, oh, what is that boredom? What is that actually? You feel all the way into it, and then it kind of becomes indeterminate, dissipates, and then maybe misery, something that feels like misery or depression. And you look closer, you're like, what actually is that? And in one case, it sort of felt like everything's just drenched in dark caramel. That's the best I could come up with. And then I had suddenly, at one point, a strong desire to be somewhere else, doing something else. And instead of suppressing it or saying, no, no, be here now, it's like, what is that? What is that desire? What does that feel like? What is that? What is desire actually? And the closer I got, it was like, I started like Kundalini like crazy, and it was like a lightning bolt, kind of nothing I could grasp at all. Just energy, a lot of it. Yeah, I feel pretty lost, which might be right on track. Don't know, can't know, don't need to know. But that's tough on the brain still, especially when I'm watching baby starve to death. It still feels like an abdication, but so does everything, because I can't fix it. I can't stop it. What can I do? And that's the question.